أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام أشرف الأنبياء المرسلين وعلى آله أصحابه أجمعين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا. Good evening again to you, Shamsuddin. You've become very popular. A lot of guys are still asking me who is the Shamsuddin. So I just mentioned that he's an old friend, a wonderful friend, a very inquisitive guy who likes to know things. Now, today I'm going to talk to you about another interesting subject pertaining to Lembah Bujang, pertaining with connection to Indianization of Southeast Asia. This is about discovery of iron furnaces at Sungai Batu in Lembah Bujang. Now, for instance, James Lowe had gone to all these places, like for instance, he had gone to Bukit Choras, and in fact, he will go up the hill, but he didn't have the equipment, the technology, the workforce. But he said that there is a temple complex, and only now, after 200 years, we have gone up Bukit Choras and discovered that the latest, the last thing I told you about Bukit Choras and full size or semi size, a 4 feet Buddha statue. So, about 200 years ago, when James Lowe went to these kind of places, he did not discover iron. Because I've read his books and all that, he doesn't mention iron. 100 years later, this is in about 1935-34, the famous H.G. Quaritch Wales, he will go to all, he'll spend about 4 months in Lembah Bujang area doing research with one or two of his assistants. Even he does not describe about iron discovery there, because he did one of the best books I ever found is this manuscript, which I got it from this Singapore Museum, where he will start from, he doesn't call Chandis, he'll say site 1, site 2, until site 30. So the contents in his manuscript are really an excellent and marvelous pokusham for Lembah Bujang history. Even he doesn't mention anything about iron furnace. So what happens is, for that you must give credit to our local archaeologists, our local researchers, who in 2009 will discover that there were iron furnaces in Sungai Batu. So that place, there were many places, but Sungai Batu is one of the biggest. You can go and see. They have laid it out very well. Then there are people to explain to you about the furnaces. You can find Sungai Batu at Jeniang and a few other places. What happens is, this Sungai Batu was called Sungai Batu Archaeological Center, SBAC. And if you go near a bit further, you'll find that the river and the remnants of what was a harbor there, what was a port buildings there, and a Buddhist ritual area was also there. And it probably, there's a belief, but it's very expensive, there are sunken ships there. They tried to do something about it, but it's very expensive. You don't have the technology, and who is to do it? Because that is also a sensitive issue. The sensitive issue, which I will not discuss sensitive issues in my videos. So most probably there are sunken ships there which needs to be extracted and taken out. Now I'll go back to our story. So what happens is, this is about around the 5th century, according to what the archaeologists have said. Now, before I go to this, let me tell you, I'm not an archaeologist. Archaeology is not my field. So I don't declare that I know about archaeology. No, I'm not an archaeologist. I'm not a historian either. I didn't do history. I did social science, and I focus on political science. So social science is my field. I've been looking at the Lembah Bujang as well as Indianization from the social science aspect. What do you mean by social science? For instance, what did the people do? What were their cultures? How did they govern themselves? What was their religious practices? How did they get married? How were the interactions? That is social science. And I've always been looking because that is my field. That's what I did in USM. Now, coming back again. See, what happens is, probably in the 5th century, iron furnacing was being done here. For this, you must really salute the locals there. They were doing this when other areas throughout Southeast Asia who did not do anything about iron. They have not even discovered iron yet. And here in Sungai Batu, what they did is they took the soil from there, the mud from there, and then they made bricks. The bricks were the base for the furnace, and then they had this turrets where you pump in the oxygen as well as angin for the flow, for inflow and outflow of angin. So they made this. It is about 1 meter tall. It's about 1 meter tall. They had the technology. You must understand. And why? Because around Sungai Batu area, they found a lot of iron.